Okay, if you saw my previous video, you'll know I've been getting a bit frustrated with good old AI and writing code. And in part, I think there's a few things that are coming into play. One, it loses context of the entire code base. Two, it has been overwriting some of the code when we've been troubleshooting, debugging things, and I haven't really picked up on that. Three, I have been a little bit lax when I've been using like Postman and like testing routes. I wasn't saving them, that kind of thing. And because of that, if you watch my other video, I think we literally like deleted a route out of our file, so we have like broken functionality that I wasn't aware of, and it's just been a real pain, to be honest. So I know this might not necessarily be best practice for a production app or how you'd normally do things, but I'm thinking of chunking the functionality down even further and at the same time writing out some documentation. So just created this Notion page functionality with a toggle. Not exactly sure the best way of going about this, so it is a little bit of work in progress. But we're going to start with registration functionality because that's kind of where you're starting it out. I know this is going to be a little bit OTT, but this is how I like to do things. So I'm going to change this to register new user. And this is going to become register new user controller. I'm going to leave that for now because there were some things in that file that I do like. Register actually, let's have a look at this MD file. It's kind of, I don't really want it there, but now we're gonna need like a temp folder, temp files. Okay. Alright. So if we think about this logically, we've also got these validation chains. Again, I know this is probably validate request. We'd have to pass all of them into here. Where would these get passed to? These are our internal validation chains. Email validator. Okay. Leave that for now. Alright, so our route. We hit register. Should we change this? Register, post, register, new user. So we should probably update this to register dash new dash user. Alright, so if we bring up our functionality, you can't see this, but I'm going to call it register new user. Alright, so then our route slash register new user, our route receives our request and calls our register new user controller and calls the register new user function in our register new user controller. Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to call this register new user. This is going to be register new user, register new user. All right. Then our register new user function in the register new user controller passes email, password, and company name to register new user. Okay, so this is our service. We're going to call this register new user service. Register new user service. Register new user. Register new user service. I unfortunately have to go because my kids it's midnight here and they're up, so we will have to continue this video a little bit later on. Just thinking about the naming convention, register new user service, call that, and then we're going to have register new user service, verify new user email. Trying to make it really specific. That's the intention. So we're going to bring in some of the verify email functionality into the register new user functionality. Ideally, what I also want to do is bring in these validation chains to be specifically within this. Now, I know that's not necessarily what you do in a production grade app, but then when I ask Claude, I can give it these 4 files or 5 files, whatever ends up in here, and it will have all of the context that it needs, except for things like our middleware and our utils. So that's the kind of thinking behind it. But unfortunately, yeah, I've got to go. Might even be able to bring in, I don't know, I wonder how granular we can make it. I've got to think about that. And then what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of documenting out the thought process. That's the idea anyway. I'll have to come back to this tomorrow. Okay, it's the next morning. I'm going to try and keep going with a little bit. Now, one of the things that I was thinking of last night, and I know this isn't necessarily best practice when you're building out in like a production grade app or an app normally, but I'm really trying to think about how AI gets confused and really want to separate out as much as possible the logic within one encapsulated folder. So what I was doing is thinking about, we've got our validation chains, and if we go to this, we've got this registration part for the validation chain, and it goes down to here. So what I was thinking of doing is copy that. Let's comment out this bit for now. Function. It's because the route's going to fail. That's fine. We'll come back. Then in register new user, I'm going to call this register new user dot validation Node.js. Paste this here. And close off that. And then what are we missing? Then we just also need, let's just bring these in. We're just going to use validation chains. We're going to call this register new user validation chains. And then what else do we need to do? Oh yeah, export. So hang on, we're just going to use our validation chains dot register. Registration. Email validator. We aren't actually using why aren't we using it's going to go up to files. There we go. This will have to go up to as well. Email. We don't appear. Alright, let me just think about this. So in our I'm just going to say here, just put it here for a sec. Not there. Check. Validate email. Sorry. Check email validator. Functionality. We don't appear to use all of its my understanding here is that in email validator, we're meant to have all of the email validation logic. Yet we're duplicating it here. So I have to check that in a second. But for now, we want to change this to bring in validate request only. Then we want to bring in const register new user validation chains. Cool. And then register. Just check we've remained that right. That's fine. Why don't you like this? I going blind? Spelled correctly. Okay, my mistake in terms of how the import was structured. All right, so let's keep tidying up this code. So we've got our register new user, goes through our register new user validation chains, and then we call our validate request. That's going to remain as a middleware. So what we might do is I'm going to bring that up just so we're, and then we call register new user. All right, register new user. We extract email, password, confirm password, company name off the rec.body. We check if the passwords are correct. Validation error is from our error types. So if we go here, I want to go to the actual file, please. These are all extending app error. So therefore, we don't import app error ourselves. So we get rid of that. We don't have email verification service. Get rid of that. Okay, so then we call our register new user service and it register new user. We pass in the email, the password, and the company name. So register new user. It's the only function in here. We can you get rid of these logs? Do these only logger.info? Let me just ask a question. With Winston error logging, does with Winston not error logging, with Winston logging, does logger.info only? Okay. I'm not too sure if we should be getting. I mean, I was just thinking like fairly simple things like why do we need them, but asking ChatGPT, you can use it to log stuff that you might want to know. Anyway, let's not worry about that now. So register new user. If there's an existing user, we throw the conflict error, create the company, create the user, schedule a service, we schedule our reminders, we create our token, we create our refresh token, we save the tokens to the database, save the refresh token to the database. Alright, we return user, token, refresh token, email preview result. So, just wondering how we can clean this up a little bit. Result. Why don't we just pass in the whole result? just check this. Where's result? Alright. So we pass in, we get, our user ID, email, role, company is verified, token, refresh token. Okay, so we can just pass in result, make that a little bit cleaner. Yep. So let's get rid of that. Save that. All right. Now, register new user service. Verification token. Generate verification token is going to be used. This is an area where I'm thinking, can we, again, not best practice, but can we turn this into like register new user? Token. Yeah, I'm just wondering if we split it out into a separate file, just to really encapsulate everything in one central place. Not using bcrypt anyway. And then we've got our schedule reminders. These are for schedule drill. Yeah, schedule a service. So this is like our registration, register new user. Do register new user validation, register new user. Because ideally, like, some of this stuff would obviously be centralized. Because you might have other reminders for other things. See how we're picking up job type. Yeah, like if we, I don't know, for example, do a notification system later on, we could use the same scheduler service. But in a way, it's handy just to have it all in one. That's what I'm really struggling with at the moment. Let's ask ChatGPT. Do you just asking ChatGPT for its view on optimization of this code. Okay, there wasn't really too many except saying to create utility functions for this stuff, which I think we might have. So like generate, do we have just a generate token? No. Okay. We're going around in circles a bit because I can't make decisions. Okay, I think what we're going to do is we're going to tidy this up a little bit and just take out some of these logs. We can always add them back in if we need to. Alright, then what we're going to do is save this. We don't need logger. We don't have validation error, we only have conflict error. What if... Okay, yep, get rid of this. Then we are going to schedule reminders. Don't think this is used anywhere else. Let's just check. So register new user, yeah, okay. So we're going to move this to register new user, move, and we're going to call this register. We're going to call this what are we calling this? Email verification reminders. Schedule a service. Actually, let's start with the name of the file. So, email verification. Rename. Email verification scheduler.service. Right. Then email verification scheduler service. All right, and then we will call this actually these one that's right, it only has to go up one file, right? Two folders. One folder, two folder, yeah, okay. Schedule reminders, schedule, spell this one, verification. Schedule verify email reminders is what we will call it. we are then calling this where we pass in job type. Oh, but first reminder is, no, it's delay. Oh no, first reminder delay. Job type is first reminder. Okay, so this still works. And then this becomes that. Alrighty. Then we've got our token, create token, generate verification token, email verification service. So this is then also separate. Let's tidy this up a little bit. So email verification service, generate verification token, send verification email, verify email. See, now this is where I'm running into some issues, because this is all currently just email verification functionality, which is associated with registering a new user, but do I want to pull it into this piece of code? Let me think. So now verify controller. We're using get user tokens. Okay. So, because that's also where our functionality from yesterday was breaking down a little bit, where we had the verified token not being sent back to the user. Yeah, I'm really conflicted. Alrighty. Generate verification. So many logs. Alrighty. These all have their own routes as well. You could pull this into our controller So for example, into our registered user controller. So verify email, we could call this register new user verification email. I'm going to give some thoughts to that and finish up for a little bit because it's nearing time for me to go and help with the kids. But I think I'm leaning that way. I know I like the modularity, but at the moment this email verification is only used to verify a new user. And what we could do is we could put all of this functionality into our controller, and we could call it, verify new user email, and then we're very clearly going to be understanding what it is. I think that should help with some of our getting Claude to write tests and stuff, because then we have more functionality in less files. It's not super reusable anyway, because I don't know when else we would be sending a verification email except on, I guess, if they changed their password, changed their email address. Actually, we probably do that. Update email. So let's check that. Update email. We don't ask them to verify their new email address. So we don't. See, that's the only trouble. I like that piece of functionality. We'd want to use this email verification to save us time, so we don't have to rewrite the code. But actually, yeah, it is duplication, but I'm just thinking maybe when they change their email, we call it like update email verification or something. It's going to largely be the same code. I don't know why I'm struggling with this so much. Like, just the thought process. I think because it's taking me away from what you would normally do. But I'm trying to get around this AI and lack of understanding. Alright, well, I'll stop it there. I'll come back shortly. Well, not shortly because I have to start my day, but it'll give me some thought process, things to think about. How we try and encapsulate all of the functionality within one folder without going too crazy and having to duplicate a whole heap of stuff. Alright, catch you in the next one. Okay, we're going to continue with our functionality of consolidating things into our registered new user group of files. I've been thinking about this, and look, I just need to pull the trigger and start doing it because I'm getting a little bit frustrated that AI is slowing me down, not speeding me up at the moment. So if you've watched the earlier part of this video, or maybe it's a different video, I'm not too sure, I was really tossing up whether we consolidate some of the functionality just down into this registered new user file. Now, I know in a normal app, what you might do is have try and extrapolate some of the common functionality so that you can have reusable services. I'm still going to do that where it makes sense, obviously, with middleware and utils, but in some of the functionality, I'm going to purposely group it together. The reason why is I can then provide AI with, these files here, 6 or so files, and it'll understand everything, or as much as possible, about our registered user functionality. And I think that will help it when it comes to writing tests. and also understanding our code base. That's the hope anyway. So at the moment we've got our register new user route, and then when the user's registered, we verify their email as well. So what we need to do is, well, actually, first of all, if we look at our Postman, when we register a new user, and then that sends an email, and then yes, they click this link to verify. So we're going to move this route, and we're going to put it over here, and obviously that's going to break a whole heap of things. And then what we're going to do is we are going to go to our email verification controller, and we're going to take the verify email functionality as well, and we're going to stick that over here into our register new user controller. So we're going to change this to verify new user email. Just save that for a second, and then this is going to become verify new user email. Yeah, cool. Now obviously validation chains is also not going to work because we're not importing it. So we've got a separate validation chains for our register new user, and over here we will open up the other one, validation chains. So we are looking for verify email, and so we are then going to register new user validation chains, copy, this is going to be verify email. Alright, now we've still got some other things to do because we go to our controller now. So let's register, verify new user, we get the token from the query param, user await email verification service verify email. So if we go over here and we go to services, verify email, we are going to get rid of this functionality, and we're going to stick this into our service. So down the bottom here, we're going to change this to verify new user email. Save that for a second. So we get verification token await token.find1 token. So actually, if we go, let me, and we call this. Alright, so register new user service dot verify new user email, and obviously on this we're passing in the token from the query param. So we pick up our token, we use token.find1 for our email verification token. If no token, validation error. If validation token expires at less than our date, validation token is expired. Then we look for our user by the verification token. If no user, user not found, user.is email verified now equals true, await user.save. And then we're calling our scheduler service to cancel the scheduled jobs. Now we do have a change there too, because we've got this email scheduler service, which we will paste there. Let's just save this to see if that now works. Okay, controller service. Okay, so what's it not happy with? Okay, yeah, all right, so okay, we'll fix that up a little bit later on. Now what we would do is we'll go to the next piece of functionality. So email verification route. So let's go here. I was just wondering if I put a note so people understand, like registers new user and sends user email sends email verification email. and then this is get request then we've got the ability to resend. So request email verification email is resend. Right, so resend use ID. So let's go through our validation chains. We don't have open anymore. All right. We took that out. Verify email, we don't need this anymore. I'm just commenting it out for a minute. Resend verification. So then in our this becomes resend verification, and then we've currently got this controller, so resend verification email. So we're going to take this out of here, we're going to put this into our controller for registered user, verify new user email, resend verification email. Right, we're going to get rid of some of these logs. So we get our user ID off the params, we look for the user. If no user, we throw an error. If the user is already verified, we throw validation error. Verification token, so we need to update that functionality too. So first of all, resend verification email. So actually, hang on, this is wrong. Register. Yep, that was wrong there. Okay, and then okay. So where was I? Resend verification email, which we've got. Then yeah, email verification service generate verification token. So this functionality, what we want to move. We also had it here in the register. Let's do that in a second. Let's just move the routes over and the main control logic, and then let's move over the main services. So not that. Okay, cool. So then routes. All right. What do we got? We got our get request. Alright, so this should be user tokens. Get user tokens. Yeah, this is email get user tokens. Not exactly sure what this functionality was meant to do again. Get tokens, map the tokens, token ID, token type. We're missing the functionality. To input verification. That was for the two-factor authentication that we're missing something. Get users tokens. Alright, so what we're going to do here is validation chains, get user tokens, and our validation chains here. Where are they? resend verification. So let's comment that out for a sec. And get user tokens. Save that. All right. So this will be that. And then this get user tokens functionality, we're going to move. So cut that, and we're going to put this in our controller. We're going to call user get user tokens. Save. Authenticate is not defined. Okay, and we need to bring in where did we have routes, email, authenticate, save. All right, argument handle is not a function. That's our routes thing. Okay. So then with this one, we call get user token. That's still calling our email verification service. Okay, fantastic. So let's go to that internal routes folder, and we've changed this to be registration routes. Register user. That works. Why is it? Oh, don't need that, right? Okay. I think because it was calling express.router and then there wasn't anything there. All right, so now what we've got so far, we've done our routes and our services, but we still have all of our verification email services sitting separately. So if we look here, we've got no controllers, we've got no routes, but we do have these services. So what we want to do is we want to now move these into our registered user services. Registered user. Actually, because we're not really, because then we're going to have like this function's then just going to be massive. Oh, man. Generate, so just trying to think of the naming convention. So we want to consolidate some of this functionality down in here, but do we really want to cut and paste all of this code, like literally here? Register new user dot utils.js maybe. Could do that. Register new user. Yeah, if we called this, if we created a file called register new user.utils.js, then the utilities for the registration of a new user. And then this is generate email verification token for new user. This is send verification email for new user. This is check token status for new user, and then this is get user tokens. And I've got to figure out, I don't know when we're using this functionality. All right, let's try and do that then. So register new user.utils.js. I kind of like that as a naming convention. Again, I'm sure if you're watching this and you're an experienced developer, like, why would you consolidate a utility down to just one folder for one particular piece of functionality? The reason why I'm doing this is purely because of AI. AI gets confused, right? So testing this out, we'll see how we go. So what we're going to do is we are going to get rid of logger because we don't need it. We're going to change this to generate new user email verification token. New user email verification token. Save that. We'll just put this over here for a sec. So then in our service, we're going to import const. Yeah. What do we call this? Register new user utils equals require. It's in the same folder, so register new user utils. All right, and then generate. So that, save. All right. Register, send verification email. So send new, send new user email verification email. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but here's what it is. Check user token status. That's the scheduler. Check token status and get user token. We don't even use that functionality. Oh, hang on. No, so what am I talking about? I'm in the util. Yeah. So where are we calling get user tokens? Get user. Must be within here. Get user. No. From here. Get user tokens. Here it is. So. Where are we? So this was in our service. So there's no more in our service, but we are calling some directly from our controller. So yeah, so here we've got our register new user, and in this piece of functionality we have a service which then calls these two utilities, whereas down here that's still calling a service, whereas resend verification email, there's no service. So we need to create a resend verification email service which calls our generate token and send verification email. So let's get ChatGPT to quickly do that. So new please create a separate service function to extrapolate out the verification token and email result functionality. Whoa. What the hell? Why is it doing that? Why are you doing that? Okay. What the hell? Why is it doing this? This is bizarre. Oh my god, really annoying. Let's go to Claude. And we'll use Opus. Please reformat the services so we need to check our errors. Alrighty. So what are we doing? We got our resend, and we were going to extrapolate out this into a service. So generate verification token. Actually, hang on. Am I going crazy? Resend. I just realized, I was kind of going down the, I don't know, wrong path, I think. Let's think about this. So this is our resend verification email. And what we want to do is why is it still wrapping in a try to catch one? Only got a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to need a pause again. This is so annoying. Hang on a second. I'm confusing myself with just my thought process here. If we take half a step back, so we've got these controllers which call these services that are related to register new user. But in these controllers, we have this piece of code is basically the service, and we want these to be utils. So we want this to be a service, and then like to here, and then within this we will call generate verification token as a util. Same with send patient email. Alright, and then we will get the response from the service and pass it to the response. We'll get the result from the service and pass it back in the response. That's what we want to do. So generate verification token. Yeah, I mean, really, what would you call this service? So it's generating the token and emailing. So what we basically want to do is copy this, and we need to do exports dot new function. Don't know what we're going to call it. Async, and then in here we're going to have those two functions, and we're going to return verification token and email result. It's basically what we're going to do, right? So then this we need to call generate and resend token. Call this resend verification token, and then this becomes, so then here we go const result equals resend verification token, and in here we need to pass in the user dot underscore ID, and then we pick this up as user ID, and then this becomes user ID. And then we get result, and then result, so result, just for a sec. I need to go, so we need to pass this into, this is going to, result is going to be object with, so it'll be verification token and whoops, and email result. So then here data would be result dot email result. When do we use the token? No. Oh, the token is passed into the send email. Okay, cool. That should work. All right, we can test that when I get back. There's a few little errors, but yeah, we've extrapolated it into a service, and then we still need to fix up these and get them from our utils, but we're making progress. So I'm going to stop it there because yeah, time to get to work and do a bit more later. Okay, we'll keep going. So we just updated this functionality, and I can get rid of this now. I think that should work. So now instead of calling the email services, we're calling register new user service, resend verification token, which is this, and then that in turn is going to call these two functions, but we're going to move those over to our utils in just a second. We then have this controller, which is calling this service, which is here, but we're going to move that out of email verification service, and we're going to put that here for now. So this now just needs to become register new user service. And I have noticed, just for purposes of consistency, make these small. Oop. All right, so that all should still work. Okay, and then if we pull this over here and we pull this over here, so our utils, so from our service, this generate verification token, if we look here, we're going to move this functionality, so cut that, and we're going to put that into our utils. Okay, user tokens, get you, oh, that shouldn't be there. Yeah. So we're going to put this in our util, and we're also going to put send verification email in our utils. So we will need to update some of our imports. So we do need crypto, which we've already got. We need user, got token, got our validation errors. Okay, fantastic. That should all still work. And in our service, this now becomes sorry, that was already right. Okay, so we now don't have our email verification service. Check token status. So we do have it here too. Right, so we don't need this. Okay. So if we think about it, we've got all of this functionality now that should theoretically work together. So we're going to go over to Claude and can I upload components? Damn it. Projects. Can I upload more to a project message? Nope. Okay. We will. Delete those. Can I upload all of those. And then what we would do is we will say, explain in detail how the functionality in the following files contained in your project knowledge work and interact together. Please also point out any errors you notice. Okay, explain in detail how the functionality interacts together. Be specific on how functions are passed from one file to another to deliver the overall functionality. All right. Okay. So times we don't import them. Validation. Okay. Alright, add consistent error handling. Okay, so we've got to check these, fix the resend verification token functionality, add rate limiting to sensitive routes. Fix the schedule of service. Okay. Cool. I just need to respond to these messages. I'll be back in a second and keep the video going. Okay, sorry, I'm back. So let's look at these potential issues in our code base. So we've obviously been cutting and pasting quite a lot of functionality, so not completely unexpected that we don't have a bit of an issue. So in register new user service in our resend verification token, we are passing in user, but we don't have the user yet. So export resend verification. And this is where we then added this functionality. So here we go. No, hang on. So in our service, we didn't update this. We didn't update this, did we? So generate verification token, passing in the user ID. If no user, that's fine. And then we need to kind of duplicate this functionality. It's a bit of duplication, isn't it? So this should come out of that. This should go here. And then we should pass in user to this. Save that. And then in here, this becomes user. And this becomes user. This becomes user. Okay, that should work. All right, and in our register new user controller, the resend verification email. What's it saying? Now controller, my bad. So we've got an issue here. So first of all, we are not bringing in all of our error types. Just bring those. Save that. And then here we have am I going nuts? Wait. Email verification scheduler. Here we have to schedule reminders. So this function doesn't exist. It should be this. Okay. Okay, I think that's all fixed up. It should be. So what we're going to do is we're going to go Claude. Okay. I'm going to ask it, can you look at the get user token functionality? I'm interested to see what Claude says here, because I do think we have a bit of an issue. Okay, I thought that was the case. So let's look at this from a logical point of view. So we are going to use Postman, and we're going to go through each of these routes to register a new user. So we've changed this to register new user, and we are going to fire that off. Okay, user registered successfully. Check your email. We've got our preview email from Ethereum, and we can then send copy link as a GET request to that endpoint, paste, that verifies route not found, because we changed it, verify email, / verify email. Email verified successfully. Okay, that's fantastic. So we've done the post, we've done the GET, and then we also need to do our resend. So let's then register a new user, 44, send. Get the user ID, copy, resend verification email with the user ID, send. User is not defined. So in our controller, we not bringing in our user model. So we'll fire that off again. Verification email resent. Click this to open it up, and then copy. Come back to Postman. Where are you? And then we go to this GET request. This needs to be auth. There's a mistake in the email, and email verified successfully. So let's just quickly fix up our email. Where do we send that here? Verify. This should be /auth / verify. And this should be auth / verify. Okay, so if we look at our controller, we've got this get tokens, which calls this service get user tokens. I'm not exactly sure what this token functionality is meant to be doing. Checks token status. Okay, let's ask in our code base, tokens. Okay, it's not used. It may have been created at one point when we were debugging. When are we using in our register new user.utils.js file? We have a function. When is this being used in our code base? Okay, so in our register new user service, it's saying that it could have been used originally, verify new user. Email here, check const token status, check token status. So verification token. Yeah, see, it's this token find one. It's really actually this functionality here. So can we? We're going to replace this functionality here. And then this will be const verification token await register new user utils dot check token status, passing in the token. Right, so let's check in here that we're bringing in the right imports. So we've got not found in validation error. Yep. We've got okay, so let's verify the token by if no verification token, throw validation error. Yep, const. Okay, so it's saying and then we should return our verification token. Save. I don't really care about this warn statement for now. Alright, so that should work. Alright, so verify. So what if we go to Postman and let's just change this to like this, invalid verification token. Great. Then so generate, send, check token status, generate, send verification email, and then in our controller. Okay. I think that's looking good then. So if we go to our routes, we don't need this get user tokens. Save that. And because we don't need that, we don't need this authenticate. Okay. So I just asked Claude to create this diagram, which I think is pretty cool, which hopefully helps explain our logic. So new user routes, we do validation chains, if invalid, if valid. Hey, this is fantastic. We call our service, create company, generate tokens, email verification, schedule reminders, response. Wow. How good's that? Can I download this? Okay, so this is pretty cool how it did that. I'm really pleased with that. What we want to do now is we need to continue this whole process through all of the other files. But because this was just a test to see if it works better, what I want to do is I'll write out all of the things that we have to do, like all the files we need to consolidate and all the things we can delete, because we shouldn't have anything here in this email verification service anymore. We still have the tests, but that's fine. What I do want to do though is I just want to ask Claude very clearly and see if it just runs. Can you please create the appropriate tests using Jest for our new user registration functionality? Only test the functionality the application has. Do not mock services where we can call the actual service from our code base. Please ensure tests are testing for the correct status code and error messages from our error types, error, middleware, and app error where necessary. Please just make sure you create tests that reflect the functionality of our code. I forgot to tell it one thing. Sorry, I'm gonna have to tell it. I did forget to tell you that we are using where does it recognize that? Okay, I think it should work. Okay, let's copy this. Let's call this file new register user. And if this doesn't work, we're not going to try and fix it. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm just interested in testing if this is going to be they all fail. Oh, that's that consolidated code thing again. You just delete that. Just run it again, it's still going to fail. Just want to see why. Are you sure? Still failed. All right. We're not going to muck around with the tests. We're going to delete this file. That was really quite disappointing, I guess, because I was hoping that by consolidating all of the functionality into one file, it would do, well, not one file, a series of files that I could upload in one chunk. It would do a better job. Obviously it didn't. So yeah, look, I'm going to leave it there for today. I do need to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out in our Notion just everything that I need to do, because I think it's worth giving this another crack. I just got to think about how we get these tests to pass. I do feel that there's value in having all of the functionality more consolidated for the purposes of working with AI. But anyway, we're going to leave it there for now, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.